Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back another video from Totally Not Mark, continuing with the ranking Dragon Ball fights. We checked out the ranking every Dragon Ball fight, so now we're checking out ranking every fight in Dragon Ball Z, which I am more, I remember more. I love Dragon Ball Z, absolutely love it. And then we'll check out the Super, and then the top 20 fights in all of Dragon Ball. Um, Android 17 Piccolo has to be in this list. It's one of the best fights going. I mean, I think, I say that. He's going to go through all the fights and rank it, and I thought the last one was going to be top 10, da 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 da. So, Android 17 Piccolo, I think, is like going to be A rank. Gohan Perfect Cell is going to be like S. Like, come on, it's peak. So on and so forth. Let's get into it.
Last week I ranked every single fight in OG Dragon Ball, and this week I am continuing my mission to rank every single fight
Frieza
in Dragon
Goku's
Ball.
gonna be
And
us.
in this episode, we're covering the legendary Dragon Ball Z. The rules are simple. Number 1, the fights need to be canon, and number 2, they have to take place on screen or on the page. And finally, number 3,
There are no rules.
be sure to subscribe so as not to miss out on our next video where we rank every single fight in Super and beyond. But right now, it's Dragon Ball Z time, baby. The Saiyan Saga might seem light on quantity compared to previous arcs, but holy hell does it deliver on quality. Even the smallest
the Raditz
introductory
fight.
skirmishes hit differently now. Farmer vs. Raditz might be a meme, but it has comparable value to the Tau vs. General Blue encounter in my previous video, I think. Through Raditz literally catching a bullet with his bare hands and flicking it back through the farmer, killing him, it's not amazing, but it builds Raditz's threat level quite effectively. Continuing Raditz's rampage, he literally eats Piccolo's blast, sends Krillin flying through a house like a ragdoll, and drops Goku, our main character, with one single hit. Again, these aren't masterpieces, but they're solid action setups. I'm giving Raditz 2 E tiers and maybe a D tier for the meme. Meanwhile, Gohan and Piccolo's training sessions deliver way more than I expected them to.
Oh, mate, I loved watching this. This was so cool.
They're not just time fillers, they're character-building gold mines
Definitely.
that showcase Piccolo's gradual transformation and Gohan's emerging potential. They aren't terrific fights, of course, but they aren't bottom tier either. Again, E and D tier fit them perfectly fine. Now, there is one fight, well, I mean, okay, technically it's a bunch of training fights that have failed to escape the dreaded bottom tier ranking. And we see this through the others training on the lookout. They almost escaped capture, but alas, there was a single panel of them training in a chapter, and so down you go. Thankfully, though, we make a
So because it's canon.
full recovery with the next bout, Raditz versus Goku, Gohan, and Piccolo. And the only thing I have to say about this is S tier. And that should not be controversial.
No, not at all. Absolutely spot on.
This is arguably the second best fight of the entire arc in my book. And look at the arc we're talking about here. From the moments leading up to this battle all the way to its aftermath, this clash serves us more lore per chapter than perhaps any other altercation in this series, with each new drop amplifying the drama all the more. Showcasing the functional utility of the Scouter tech in practice, this fight also ushers in an era of power level speculation that has refused to go away ever since. Furthermore, the stakes are incredibly high here, thanks in part to Gohan's capture, Raditz's ultimatum to Goku, and fundamentally the power differential established between the two strongest fighters on Earth combined versus Raditz.
Fighting together.
Also, it's the first time Goku and Piccolo ever
Fought
fight
together,
together
yeah.
following their blood feud, and that's not even to mention Goku's sweet Kamehameha manipulation, Piccolo's Makanko Sapo, or Special Beam Cannon, and need I even mention Gohan's
Rage.
hidden power? I shouldn't need to say all this. You guys know. The story of the fight even serves to subtly foreshadow the fatal flaw that ultimately leads to Vegeta's defeat, that the Saiyans themselves value individual strength more than teamwork. Raditz dismisses Goku and Piccolo as a threat due to their individual power readings, all the while he somehow finds himself cornered multiple times due to their combined efforts. It is poetry. The conclusion of the fight even sets up potentially the biggest cliffhanger in the series up until now through the unveiling of Vegeta and Nappa's
Yeah, there's stronger people on the way. Oh my god, he had friends.
impending invasion and Goku's death. It is stupidly good. This fight is easily one of the strongest in the entire series. It flips the entire story onto its head effortlessly, and I will never stop singing its praises. Shut up. Continuing the trend of this arc being heart-stoppingly awesome, the Earth's forces versus the Cybermen threat serves as the perfect appetizer before the main entree, with each subsequent clash offering something new and exciting for us to sink our teeth into. Tien's raw power display prompts Vegeta to casually murder a Cyberman, again highlighting that the Saiyans' arrogance is their fatal flaw here. Krillin's explosive retaliation showcases humanity's hidden potential, Piccolo's flash of concern for Gohan plants seeds for later, and Yamcha, oh my god, poor Yamcha, becomes the sacrificial lamb that shows us that no one is safe in this new world.
And it becomes such a meme that it gets his own fuck up on Mama John.
Order. Though these fights may be brief, and that does limit how high I can
The Dragon Ball Z's versus Cybermen. You could have just called it the Z team.
rank them somewhat, collectively they earn a solid C tier for me.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yes,
it's fair.
I might be being generous here to Yamcha, but whatever, it's literally the last W he ever gets. And then Nappa enters.
Mate.
And man, the gloves come straight off. If Yamcha's death was the warning shot, Tenshinhan and Chaozu's proved that the rules have
Chaozu's
really
sacrifice
fundamentally
is-
changed forever. Demonstrating that even the most selfless of
Chaozu,
sacrifices
no!
amount to virtually nothing in this crippling war of attrition against this hulking monster from the stars. It's brutal, it's heartbreaking, and it's absolutely deserving of B tier
Yeah,
in
yeah.
my book. But we're just getting warmed up. This is the Saiyan saga after all. And Nappa versus Piccolo, Krillin, and Gohan weaves their individual character arcs into one desperate struggle for survival that I adored. Pushing Gohan to grow, Piccolo to love, and Krillin to not fucking die. This
Yay.
is storytelling at its finest and most exciting. An easy, perhaps even surprising, S tier addition for this arc. Which brings us to... Goku versus Nappa isn't trying to match the complexity of what came before. It's pure, concentrated payoff. And I love it. After watching our heroes get systematically destroyed, we need this moment of catharsis. Goku's effortless dominance, Toriyama's incredible visual storytelling and inventive posing, and Vegeta's cold execution of his partner, it all adds up to an easy A-tier fight, but the best is yet to come. The final showdown, and let's be real, calling it Goku versus Vegeta is disrespectful to everyone who bled for this victory. This is Goku, Gohan, Krillin, and Yajirobe
Mate, I love that Yajirobe gets a moment in this, and he gets a moment in this.
versus Vegeta, and it is a masterclass in narrative escalation. Vegeta isn't just powerful, he's an absolute force of nature who refuses to stay the
Down,
fuck
yeah.
down. This fight has everything. Beam struggles that shake the planet, Kaiokens that push the bodies to breaking point, great ape transformations, spirit bombs, last second saves that actually surprise you. Every fighter gets their moment to shine, every power-up feels earned, and the conclusion is perfectly bittersweet. If you want to convert someone to Dragon Ball, show them this fight. It's not just the best battle of the arc, it's one of the greatest in anime history. S tier, without question, living rent-free, Toriyama at his absolute peak.
Oh yeah. The Frieza saga. Oh my god. Oh, I love that he's put the Gokus in from the last one dancing as well.
Stepping away from an arc light on individual fights and straight into one flush with them, we have the Frieza saga. Of the 25 plus fights within this segment alone, only one is going into bottom tier, and it's not because it's bad, because let's face it, bottom tier doesn't mean bad. The Frieza saga's only bottom tier entry, Vegeta versus Apul, is more of a narrative beat than it is a fight, so to speak.
Yeah, we need to establish that Vegeta's got stronger as well as everyone else.
It's necessary to the plot, and sometimes we need curb stomps like this to move things along, but it's not a good fight or an impressive show of force by any measure. Moving on, Gohan and Krillin versus some Frieza Force soldiers, Vegeta eviscerating a Mechian village, and Gohan versus Vegeta's knee all find their way into E tier respectively. All of these serve an important purpose narratively concerning Gohan and Krillin's run-in with the Frieza Force soldiers. Through this fight, we learn how Gohan and Krillin stack up amidst the Frieza Force. It's an important scene, but there's nothing too impressive. The same can be said for Gohan meeting Vegeta's knee. This is an incredibly tense moment, and it's for that reason it's not in bottom tier. For this scene to be able to squeeze out this much drama from a brief interaction is nothing short of brilliant. That said, it's more of an intellectual fight than it is a physical one, at least for Gohan anyway. Also, concerning the Namekian village, yeah, Vegeta's just a bad guy.
Bad man. There we go.
This next batch of fights all feed into each other beautifully, but together they create one of the best introductions to a new arc or area I think I've ever seen. Kicking things off with Vegeta versus Cooey, it's a solid D tier entry. Again, mainly serving to establish where Vegeta stacks up in respect to the Frieza Force. It tells us also that the Frieza Force is tracking his activity through their scouters, and of course, Zenkai boosts, baby. It's a fun fight that also picks up some points by being the first moment Vegeta is positioned as someone we could actually cheer for.
Yeah, it's like the first time you get behind it, it's like you want him to win that fight. And it's like, wait a minute, what's going on?
What can I say? Cooey had it coming. Within a story that features so many fun and familiar characters, what most impresses me as a reader is the writer's ability to create genuine interest, emotion, and tension with nothing but a cast of entirely new faces. For me, the Namekian village versus the Frieza Force is an easy B-tier candidate. Serving as our first glimpse of the monster that Frieza is, this clash is a roller coaster of hope and desperation as the innocent and ultimately defenseless Namekian elders, warriors, and even children fight for their very lives. The injection of the Namekian warriors partway through this only further serves to reinforce how hopeless their present circumstances are, as piece by piece they are dismantled by Dodoria. But there is one silver lining. Gohan and Krillin's impromptu save and subsequent clash with Dodoria isn't long-lived, but man is it cathartic. All the while relying on the evasive and defensive techniques that served them well in the past, it's a desperate escape attempt and one that seamlessly transitions into Vegeta versus Dodoria. Concerning Vegeta's onslaught, we once again gain greater insight into his past relationship with Frieza, and there's some great character work from Vegeta, also some wonderful build-up for Frieza, and is again another cathartic outing. Both Gohan and Krillin save, and this fight with Vegeta and Dodoria get C tier for me. Moving on, Vegeta vs. Zarbon and its eventual sequel are both solid additions to this story's midpoint that both facilitate and enhance the narrative.
Yeah, it's class that like Vegeta's like got one up with Dodoria, and you think, oh, he's on a roll here, fights Zarbon, and then Zarbon wins. It's like, ooh, but then yeah, Zenkai boosts.
Cooey, Dodoria, and now Zarbon, Vegeta is figuratively climbing the power rankings of the Frieza Force, all the while learning about Frieza, what he's done, what he's after, and what he's capable of. Plus, the action in both of these is really solid from start to finish. I just love the contrast between Zarbon's pre- and post-transformation fighting styles and how they reflect his form's aesthetic. C tier.
Get your force!
Kicking things off with Guldo versus the combination of Gohan and Krillin, slotting straight into C tier. This fight manages to feel unique thanks to Guldo's time-controlled gimmick. The way it dictates the path of the battle while also serving as a means of placing us in the shoes of the villain is exciting and novel. Vegeta versus Recoome is A tier. If this were a video game, this would be the skill check, so to speak. The hard line drawn in the sand where things genuinely get serious and even a little scary. There's no more running, no more tricks up their sleeves to pull out. It is pure, unrestrained, one-on-one combat. And for Vegeta, it's his best fight since Goku. It brings out everything we love about him as a character, his refusal to show any mercy, his ruthless persistence to take every available chance to score any kind of damage, and it's also the very first time we see him use an early incarnation of what will eventually become known around the world as the Final Flash.
Oh, and yeah, that too. Gallic Gun starts with the hand thingy behind and then that, isn't it?
Of course, Water Vegeta.
I know.
Furthermore, from a layout and design standpoint, Vegeta vs. Recoome is my go-to example to illustrate just how masterful Akira Toriyama's use of space, line work, and posing was in order to control the eye of his readers. If Vegeta vs. Recoome was the reality check, then Krillin and Gohan vs. Recoome is the proverbial brick wall and emphatic
they were
C-tier
going.
addition to this lineup.
It's funny, isn't it? It's like if Vegeta ain't doing it, they've got no chance. Come on.
Vegeta fought to win, Krillin and Gohan are simply fighting to delay the inevitable.
Yeah.
With one strike, Recoome renders Krillin little more than bone soup, leaving Gohan to pay the balance. And it is brutal. The way Toriyama forces us as readers to wallow in what are effectively the death throes of a 5-year-old boy is as effective as it is deeply uncomfortable. Seriously, there's an entire page dedicated to Gohan trying, failing, and then trying again to pick himself back up. But just like any battle Toriyama orchestrates, nothing is done without purpose. Goku vs. Recoome, as well as his later fight with Jason Burner, served the same purpose as Goku's earlier battle with Nappa did. I will say, however, neither of these bouts reached the same level as Nappa vs. Goku did for me. And I think the reason is tension. With the Saiyan arc, while it was a relief for Goku to show up, we also knew that Vegeta was right there. In this one, however, it's perhaps too much of a reset to the status quo. Still though, I can't say I didn't enjoy them both considerably. We'll put them in D tier. And no, I am not counting Vegeta killing Berter and Recoome as fights. Both of them were just, like, they were unconscious. Goku versus Ginyu, Gohan and Krillin versus Ginyu Goku, Vegeta versus Jace, and Vegeta versus Ginyu Goku are weird, and I'm putting them into E tier, I think. Well, actually, no, except for Goku and Ginyu, as there's actually a portion of that that's really genuinely cool to revisit. Well,
I don't know why, but I always mention the moment where Vegeta's chasing down Jace through the ship. I always loved that scene. I thought it was so cool. I thought it was so badass. It's like, Jace is scared now. There's been that power shift. Like, it's only just been recent as well. Jace is laughing at Vegeta like, haha, weak, fighting Recoome and that. Then all of a sudden, Vegeta's back in. And he's just chasing him through the ships, crashing through the walls. Jace is scared. I thought it was boss.
All of these serve a purpose. As fights, they're kind of a buzzkill for me, reduced to little more than a stall tactic and a means of disposing Goku once again until he's needed for the Frieza fight. There are some interesting artifacts that stem from this body-switching charade, like Gohan and Krillin fighting Goku, which has a greater novelty and meaning, but ultimately, I can't shake off just how irritating these bouts felt to me. Well, actually, no, maybe I'm too harsh. The frog bit at the end is funny, so put Vegeta versus Ginyu Goku into D tier. Nail versus Frieza, on the other hand, despite being a non-competitive and short-lived fight, is brimming with tension and high stakes. Nail knows he can't stand up to Frieza, but what he can do is waste his time. It's a beautifully cathartic moment of resistance against a tyrant. I'll put this in C tier.
Fair.
Vegeta, Gohan, and Krillin versus Frieza in his first two forms is brilliant.
Yeah.
Despite being set up as Vegeta's big show of power, this ends up being Gohan's greatest moment yet. Seriously, the scene where Gohan has to save Krillin only for Frieza to get in his way is still one of the single most hype moments for his character in the entire series. This whole fight makes terrific use of every character in play, and I genuinely couldn't think of a better team-up moment in the entire arc. I wouldn't change a single thing. S tier. And the good times keep on rolling once Piccolo and Gohan versus Frieza kicks off proper. There's something oddly satisfying about a Namekian punching Frieza in the face like this. Plus, Gohan gets in
yeah, because after we've seen him just, like, kill, murder, go through, and just, like, traumatize families by just zapping their kids, and that's like, yeah, vengeance is here.
Epic moment to shine. A tier. Piccolo, Gohan, Krillin, and Dende versus Frieza isn't anything special, but it does do a decent job of setting up something actually great afterwards. C tier. Vegeta vs. Frieza is where the investment into both Frieza and Vegeta's characters in this arc finally pays off. Frieza, through revealing who he truly is, not simply through transformation, but by way of humiliating the Saiyan Prince, crushing the last glimmer of light in his eyes before reducing him to a beaten, weeping heap, is nothing short of fantastic drama. It is one of Vegeta's most powerful moments in the entire series, and this fight serves that exceptionally well. A tier. It's storytelling through action 101.
Sounds... Sorry, saying A tier just activated my phone to listen to Must have sounded like something else. Anyway.
Which brings us to Goku versus Frieza. I don't think there's anything I could say about this fight that hasn't already been said by both me extensively and countless other people. So, just like the Vegeta fight during the Saiyan saga, Frieza versus Goku is part of anime and manga history for a reason. It's massively exciting, thematically resonant, revolutionary, and despite what the original anime might have led you to believe, is super well paced in the manga. S tier was made for fights like this. And just in case you think I forgot to include that short stint where Goku, Piccolo, Gohan, and Krillin fought Frieza in the middle of all this, I didn't. S tier for that too.
Oh my god. Vegeta on the floor. Nice! That's so funny.
As we just saw, the Frieza saga was pretty stacked with top-tier fights, and the Android Cell arc is in pretty great standing too. Though unlike many of the prior Dragon Ball Z arcs so far, due to the stop and start nature of this particular installment, there are a few bottom-tier candidates that need to be accounted for before moving on. Yajirobe being shot out of the sky by the androids attacking countless people on South City Island, and Android 17 being eaten by Cell technically counts too. Oh, also, future Gohan knocking out Trunks during the History of Trunks flashback, and Vegeta attacking future Trunks twice. Yeah, okay, there's nothing wrong with any of these. I'm just chucking them into bottom tier to account for them. Now,
what about Jiro versus Yamcha? Is that not getting thrown in there? I'm confused.
Now onto much more substantial matters.
Oh, okay. Right, we'll see what happens. Must be a D tier then. Mate, this is so cool.
Kicking off the arc, future Trunks' decimation of the Frieza Force, Frieza himself, and then his father, King Cold, is a fantastic opening rug-pull gambit from Akira Toriyama. Never in a million years would I have seen that one coming. The surprise factor offers these fights a lot of edge too. I think a D tier is okay for the Frieza Force soldiers and his father, but a solid A tier is deserved to Frieza's kill himself.
I was gonna say, that's surely a little bit higher. And narratively, it was like, whoa, what a twist. Who the bloody hell's this guy? Where are we going with this? The guy just killed Frieza. He's Super Saiyan as well. What's going on?
The reason I'm weighing the Frieza fight in these so much higher is our emotional investment in the Frieza character and this potentially being his revenge quest. Furthermore, there's the added emotional subtext of Frieza coming face to face with another Super Saiyan for the very first time since Goku. Also, the visuals involved are much cooler. Pun not intended. Immediately off the heels of that, we've got Goku versus Trunks, and I'm throwing that right away into C tier. Initially, I slotted this into D tier too, but again, I'm a massive fan of action speaking louder than words in fights, and this does that exceptionally well. Without even moving, Goku shows us that he's 10 times the warrior Trunks is. The finger blocks are just ridiculously cool. This stretch, following the time skip through to Cell's introduction to the story, is one of my absolute favorites, and it has some of the most effective and subtle Toriyama characterization in Dragon Ball Z. Let's get the lesser fights out of the way so we can get to the really good stuff.
Right, okay, so it is going to be in here.
Unsurprisingly, Goku...
Wait, I'm waiting for Yamcha Jiro, because, yeah, I feel like Yamcha Jiro should have been, but if he's being grouped in with everyone else...
Goku's desperate punch to stop Android 20's onslaught on the city and Piccolo taking his I-beam to the chest are both E-tier candidates. The main reason these escaped the dark confines of the dreaded bottom tier is largely due to how well they facilitated the present circumstances and how they reveal something about the characters involved. Goku's sweaty and desperate attack foreshadows his sickness, all the while Piccolo's surprisingly quick defeat was actually revealed to be clever strategy. I can't put these higher, but they are great. Next to account for are the shocking moments that aren't long enough to give many points to. And funnily enough, visually these are very similar moments. And I am of course talking about the two scenes where two different androids spike their hands through their victim's chest. As a moment of first contact with the android threat, for Yamcha to be greeted like this was incredibly unnerving and ironic given how 17 forces a similar fate upon Jiro himself chapters later. I like these moments for what they are. D tier.
Nice.
And while we're at it, we're going to throw that group fight against 17 and 18 in there too with them. It's not a super fun fight or anything, but it acts as a great indication that these androids aren't like those from future Trunks' timeline. Now for something truly special. Goku versus Android 19 is unlike any Goku fight in the entire series. And that's the genius of it. Through the visual storytelling of Goku starting at max power, the fight being told through the perspective of Jiro and the onlookers, all the while Goku looks bewilderingly tired, makes
Yeah, he's
this
getting
an
knackered,
easy
man.
A-tier entry for me. All the clues were there, we just needed to look. Vegeta vs.
There we
Android
go.
19 is the measuring stick I compare every modern Vegeta fight against. A superbly character-rich
Absolutely,
beatdown
just dominates, man. He just dominates.
filled with iconic one-liners for us to enjoy, utterly brimming with clever subtext and strategy to boot. For me, there is no question this is an S-tier entry. And sticking with Vegeta, we've got his tussle
Mate.
with Android 18 too. While
It's at least A.
Vegeta vs. 19 was pure catharsis, this confrontation with 18 establishes Vegeta's character journey for the arc while being every bit as visually impressive as the former. Refusing help and ultimately paying for it, Vegeta is forced to reconcile that he needed the help of others to survive, which pays
There we
off
go.
wonderfully later. A tier. This section has a lot, so let's get the small fry out of the way early. Cell's introductory kill with an older gentleman is hauntingly effective for how
So
short
weird.
it is.
Eh.
E tier. Android 16 getting his skull bashed in by Semi-Perfect Cell, and Krillin and the android struggle against him are solid, but ultimately nothing more than E tier either. And the same goes for Krillin's solo effort against Perfect Cell 2 with his Kienzan. It's a cool visual, but ultimately E tier. However, things do quickly get better. Piccolo vs. Imperfect Cell is
Mate,
an
it's
easy
so
B
good.
tier addition. Though it is light on the action compared to others I'll soon touch on, it's filled with some of the best Piccolo moments with clever
Choreography's
strategy
good.
taking precedence over flashy shows of force. On the other side of the coin, Android 17 vs. Piccolo is specifically famous for its flash show of force, breaking out some of his best
How is this just B? No. I was saying from the beginning I'm waiting for this. How is this B? This is at least A. This fight's incredible. Sorry guys, I'm quite tired. I had a very busy day today.
new moves. Piccolo brings
I worked from 9 o'clock at night till 5 in the morning. Then I had 3 hours sleep so I could do some more YouTube stuff. And then went for a 5-mile run. More YouTube stuff, and then put more shelving things together in the room to keep organizing stuff. And then woke up this morning to do this. So you best appreciate the effort. Right, I'm uploading videos onto TikTok now as well. Yes, so videos on TikTok as well as 2 shorts a day, as well as 2 YouTube videos a day, as well as working 50 hours a week, as well as trying to keep packing stuff in the house. Anyway,
the fight out
enough
of
about it.
17 and offers him a crucial
Let's
opportunity
moan about this instead. This should have been A.
to reveal his true character before Cell arrives on the scene to destroy everything. And speaking of, Cell vs. Piccolo and 17 is a solid C tier pick. It's carried by Piccolo's light grenade, but ultimately doesn't offer much else. And finally, we've got the wildcard Android 16 revealing his true power against Semi-Perfect Cell. And
Yeah,
it is
that was cool. It's like, wait a minute, what? But then it makes sense when you realize that the numbering system goes downwards, and as you go downwards, they get stronger.
awesome. On top of being a very nice surprise that transitions us nicely into the Perfect Cell era, it's filled with some really unorthodox combat. Another easy B tier.
Mate.
Never in a million years would I have thought I'd be putting Semi-Perfect Cell versus Ten Shinhan in A tier, but here
It
we
is.
are, and
It's so
it's well
cool. You
deserved.
gotta
This
give it
is a
that.
stunning example of Toriyama turning a character's weakness into a narrative strength. We know that Ten Shinhan is no match for Cell, but as said by Piccolo to Android 20, their strength isn't anything compared to the techniques they can use to harness it. We saw it when Goku's power level reading spiked when he used the Kamehameha against Raditz, so you can only imagine what a Kikoho does to that power reading also. It is thrilling, we know it's a
Stop
stall
it,
tactic,
stop
and we
it.
know the toll it's putting on his body. It's a fan favorite scene
gonna
for
come
a
out
reason.
now.
And with that, the floodgates open. Vegeta versus Semi-Perfect Cell and eventually Perfect Cell is another S tier affair,
Yeah.
brimming with character for both Vegeta and Cell respectively. Also, the final flash, I mean, come on. But the score I'm going to give
Oh,
this
mate,
next
just
one
wait, just blows
might
half his
even be
body off. It's like,
controversial. I'm
whoa.
awarding S tier also to Perfect Cell versus Future Trunks. While visually exciting, it's not the aesthetic that pushes this fight as high as it goes for me, it's how it serves the story. Unveiling initially that he's more powerful than his father could ever hope to dream of, through the parallel story of Goku's training with Gohan, we gain insight into just how terrifyingly mistaken Trunks is.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he's winning, and then it's like, just as before that punch is thrown, Goku's like, yeah, but it's kind of flawed. You're like, oh no, No.
before he does. It's profoundly embarrassing and one of the best uses of dramatic irony in the entire series, humanizing
You
Trunks
got
as a
it.
child out of death while elevating Cell, Goku, and even Vegeta in the process. From a writing standpoint, there's nothing else like it in the entire series. The Cell games begin, and while it hosts one of the most famous fights in the entire series,
Piccolo.
I do have some housekeeping to attend to before we get to it. Mr. Satan versus Cell, Trunks eating a blast leading to his own death,
My
and
favorite boy.
Vegeta's subsequent retaliation. While there's nothing wrong with any of these, that still doesn't help them escape E tier. Though I will put Trunks into D tier here because it's a nice way to reveal that Cell survived.
Yeah, it's not really a fight either. It's like,
Next up are the Cell Juniors, where what they lack in compelling combat choreography is more than made up for in stakes and emotional turmoil for Gohan. Not to
Gohan
mention
just
how they serve as
watch.
fitting punching bags later. I think against the Z fighters, I'd slot them into D tier, but as punching bags, that's gotta be a C tier for sure. It's just too satisfying. And finally, we've got the heavy hitters. Goku versus Cell is a beautiful, albeit controversial end to Goku's martial arts career, for now, with a warp Kamehameha and an emotional bow out of the tournament just like his master did before him. This fight serves as Goku's handing of the torch to his
Have a
son,
senzu
much to the
bean.
shock of anyone watching or reading. It's got character, it's got choreography, it's got meaning, and it's found its way into S tier alongside Gohan and
Had to be
Vegeta
an
versus
S.
Cell. As if there was ever any question
Yeah.
that fight was going to make the cut. Acting as the culmination of years worth of build-up, not just for Gohan, but additionally for Vegeta, this fight brings to a close the story of the boy who didn't want power and the man who refused to let go of it. Coming together, embracing the lessons they each learned, and through doing so, save the entire universe. It is a breathtaking sequence of narrative satisfaction. And no, I didn't forget the future Trunks stuff. Future Gohan versus the androids and Trunks versus the androids after the arc both go into D tier, while future Trunks versus Imperfect Cell is E tier due to us having really no emotional attachment to that character.
It's in the background. I was like, whenever he mentions the Buu Saga, wait, he'll mention the Buu Saga. He's got to put it out his picture.
Welcome to the Buu Saga.
There you go. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
As I call it, Dragon Ball's Jackson Pollock painting, where, in a burnt-out days, Akira Toriyama threw a bunch of shit at the wall, and fans are still arguing to this day over whether it's an abstract masterpiece or just abstract. But the truth is,
And which form of Buu is stronger?
just like a real Jackson Pollock, even the experts have to tilt their heads sideways, squint really hard, and maybe have a few drinks to appreciate the beauty hidden beneath that disappointing adult Gohan splatter. Just kidding, I really like Jackson Pollock. Also, that thing I said about Gohan, kinda mean. I'm sorry. Man, that old Kai sure can dance, huh? I've been pretty critical of the Buu Saga in the past, but even I can admit it's filled with some of the most creative additions to the series. However, before that, we got quite a few bottom tier entries to account for.
Oh yeah, it's a tournament, isn't it?
The bank robbers versus the police at the very beginning of the Buu arc. Goten versus Gohan's training spar, not the first one, the second one where we only see really a single panel. Trunks versus some nameless kid in the tournament. Goten versus another nameless kid in the tournament. Trunks knocking out Mighty Mask. Babidi exploding the head of a tournament official. Goku firing a key blast at Old Kai.
Forgot he
Some
did
bandits
that.
sniping an elderly couple. Those same bandits sniping a puppy. And finally, from the 28th Tenkaichi Budokai, Vegeta punching a character that's name is Knock, and I didn't know that his name was Knock. But this isn't where bottom tier ends during the Buu Saga. Oh no. Its hunger cannot be quenched because it made me notice something worth discussing that could be a problem for prior rankings. In the past, I've included the androids attack in South City, but seeing this, it got me thinking. This one with Vegeta at the stadium, Nappa nuking a city during the Saiyan arc, and all the times Buu erases entire population centers are hard to categorize. On one hand, they aren't really targeting anyone in a particular area, but they are targeting a vague group of
Yeah, like a
people,
lot
I
of
guess.
people.
And so, is it a fight if it's blindsided? I mean, I've included sucker punches for the sake of being overly thorough in this list, so I guess I'll throw all of these into bottom tier too, just because they kind of fall into a gray area. Also, Buu is really fucky, so we're throwing absorptions into the bottom tier too. So with all that out of the way, let's get into the actual meat. In the pre-tournament section, we've got 4 fights. Both Gohan versus some robbers and his fight alongside Videl taking out other criminals are E tier. Gohan's short training stint with Goten is also E tier, and Vegeta's short spar with Trunks is C tier.
That's
I put that
cool.
into C because it's a genuinely interesting matchup first of all, and we learn a lot about where both characters are in terms of personal growth.
This one Vegeta sees Trunks go Super Saiyan. It's like, wow.
Next up, there's the kid fights, and they are fine. Trunks versus
tier.
Idasa and Goten versus Ikoze are both D tier entries. They are short and enjoyable because we see these obnoxious kids get what's coming to them. Trunks versus Goten, on the other hand, is genuinely enjoyable and good. There's some really nice characterization in this one too, and some cute encouragement from the sidelines through Goku and Vegeta, and overall, it's really solid. B tier. And finally, we've got Trunks versus Mr. Satan to round it all off at D tier. It's a funny punch. Next up are the adult tournament brackets. Krillin versus Pintar is a very traditional Toriyama-style squash fight, but did anyone else notice that Pintar looks exactly like what Majin Buu might look like if he were a human? I don't know. Gohan versus Yamu, Spopovich, and Shin, technically, I'd put into C tier. It's chaotic, you have no idea what the hell is going on, other
That
than
is
that there's some big
weird narrative twist. It's like, who the fuck's this guy and why has he just done that?
you're not in on. It's not much of a fight, but in terms of tension and mystery, it's solid. The final of the tournament, however, is a solid C tier too. There's plenty of comedy, and you can't help but root for Mr. Satan as he tries to navigate increasingly insane circumstances. But ultimately, the fight everyone remembers from this tournament, and the moment it's finally revealed that everything isn't quite as it seems, is Videl versus Spopovich.
Like this was
It's
weird.
about as difficult to watch as Raccoon beating up Gohan as a child, only this time, people who can actually help are being told to just sit tight and watch. It is brutal. It shows Videl's intense determination and grit before she vanishes forever, and is
she don't throw a towel in, does she?
Depending on which way you land on this, you could put it into D tier for being uncomfortable to a degree that's perhaps too far, or A tier. For me, it's one of the most memorable fights in the entire series, and kind of does what it's supposed to, I guess. Now time for the pre-Boo stuff. God, this is so long. Yamu and Spopovich getting murked by Babidi and Pui Pui is an E tier. Dabura's savage assault on Piccolo, Krillin, and Kibito is better, but still only D tier. And Gohan's fight with Dabura is one of the most forgettable fights in the entire series for me. Seriously, the only thing I remember about it was how often Vegeta and Goku commented on how much weaker Gohan was. Not super satisfying. E tier. Thankfully, there's better stuff to enjoy. Goku versus Yakon goes into C tier. It's exciting, foreshadows how strong Goku's gotten, and pushes Babidi to do the unthinkable with Vegeta. The two best fights in this section are Vegeta versus Pui Pui and Majin Vegeta versus Goku, of course. The Pui Pui fight has echoes of Android 19 written all over it, but lacks the same intensity and drama for me. Still though, it's plenty entertaining. B tier. My ranking of the Majin Vegeta fight with Goku, on the other hand, is going to turn some heads and perhaps ruffle some feathers, I'd wager. In the anime, the fight is very long and offers some of the series' best animated moments. To this day, I still return to watch it, it's that fun, but in the manga, the fight is far more of a background element than we might be used to with the anime. It has some cool shots, of course, and serves a nice purpose for Vegeta to explore his issues, but ultimately it's nowhere near as good as the anime might have led us to believe. B tier. And now the final stretch. Let's categorize these from worst to best. Super Buu killing the bandits who shot his dog, Ten Shinhan making the save for Gohan, and Majin Buu killing Babidi are all E-tier entries. Majin Vegeta knocking out both Trunks and Goten is simple, but it is also super effective and emotionally resonant. D-tier. Also in D-tier, we have Piccolo's surprise attack on Babidi, Goku and Mr. Satan versus Super Buu right before Vegeta shows up. Seriously, it is so funny seeing Mr. Satan think that he just shot Buu in half. We've got Pan versus Kekko during the tournament after the time skip, and much too many of your surprises, I'm sure, Gohan versus Super Buu after he absorbs Piccolo and Gotenks. I am also going to put that into D tier. It is just not very good. And finally, our last entry into D tier, we have Good Buu versus Skinny Buu. It's an interesting exchange and development for his character, but ultimately there's not much to it beside that. Now, this might upset some folks, but I genuinely liked this moment a lot. Mr. Satan taking out the bandits is going into C tier, alongside Mr. Satan and Good Buu versus Kid Buu, Goku versus Oob, Majin Buu's first fight with Dabura, Gohan and Shin, and two other fights that I am sure people will take issue with. The first is Gohan versus Super Buu.
Interesting. Go on.
When he first makes the save. For me, this is one of the most disappointing fights in the entire series. For, frankly, too many chapters, we were forced to wait while this freaky old shaman Kai danced around him, also he could just do nothing, I guess. It's cathartic, of course, to see Gohan show up wearing those clothes, and it has some cool moments, but outside of that, it's just not great. And the second fight that I'm sure you're going to be upset with me on is Vegeta versus Kid Buu. In the anime, this fight is awesome and would easily find its way into an A or S tier
but because of the
for me. But
manga?
in the manga, it's much less than many might anticipate. It's still good, but nowhere near as emotionally powerful as the anime worked out. C tier to that one too. Alrighty, now for the genuinely great stuff. Goku versus Majin Buu as he cycles through his forms and
Super Saiyan
showcases Super Saiyan 3
3
for the first time is a solid B tier entry. As is Mr. Satan versus Majin Buu when he first meets him. This is easily one of the funniest fights in the entire series because on one side you've got a con man and on the other you have a demigod that doesn't even realize the con man is trying to hurt him. It's pure Toriyama
It's like he's
gold.
just so below him. It's just like he can't comprehend that he could be any kind of threat. So even when he's like planting bombs and stuff, he's like, this is fun.
So in B tier is Goku versus Kid Buu as a Super Saiyan 3 and Vegito versus Super Buu. Both of these fights are good, but neither are very long or impressive enough to push them into A tier for me. I tried to justify, and I do mean that I really tried to justify Vegeta's fight to go into A tier because people really love it so much, but I genuinely can't see a reason to. It's fun, it's cathartic to some extent, and very enjoyable, but big numbers go burr isn't enough to get me over that threshold. And so we have arrived at the 3 best fights in the Buu saga, according to me. And surprisingly, even to me, Gotenks and Piccolo versus Super Buu in the Time Chamber is going into A tier. Unlike the anime, which created way more Gotenks than we ever could have possibly needed, this manga outing is genuinely some of the most creative action I've seen in a long time, and takes place in a dimension that only heightens the tension further. Seriously, Piccolo formulating a plan to buy the kids time is sensational.
Yeah, it's like,
and finally, we have our 2 S tier candidates. First up, Majin Vegeta and Trunks versus Majin
Yeah, gotta
Buu.
give it that.
And yes, that's right, Trunks
Gotta give it
did
that.
help. See? He kicked him off Vegeta. That counts.
Run away!
This fight is epic and a beautiful moment of reconciliation for Vegeta's character. No notes, it's beautiful. Which brings us to my final S tier entry for Dragon Ball Z, Goku and Vegeta versus Kid Buu. The Spirit Bomb, the running out of energy, Vegeta begging the Earthlings for their energy, Satan helping, the Namekians lending a hand. It is a wonderful culmination
Yeah,
of
it's
everything
class.
that has come before it to push this one last struggle over the line, and in the end, it's a fantastic clash. And that, my friends, is every fight in Dragon Ball Z ranked. Let me know down below where you would rank some of these if you disagree. But next time, it's Dragon Ball Super and beyond, so be sure to subscribe to make sure you
It says the Beyond, but it's not. It's Super, and then we do the top 20 fights
don't
full
miss it,
time.
and
Lies,
support us on Patreon to see
lies.
it early. But until then, I've been Totally Not Mark, and I'll see you all next time.
Lies. But yes, we got. What we doing? Catching up. So we got this one just done, ticked off. Then we got Record Fights Dragon Ball Super. Top 20 Dragon Ball fights of all time. Then the Dan to Dan review. And then we are up to date. So that was cool. See which ones are ranked higher in the Super one. And then we get into the best. Thanks for watching.